Hi, welcome. In this video, I want to talk about the structure of the REST API and why we need to use it. Now, let's say, if I take a look at inside the Google and search for the REST API diagram or something like that, the REST API is important part. So we have all of these websites and different diagrams and structures for working with the RESTful API. Let's select this one and you can see it over here, or you can get inside the website. Now we have something like this image. If I take a look at the first step, we have the RESTful API. You can see it over here. Then we have the database and different devices. Suppose you have some data inside your database and you want to share it with different peoples. So you need to use the standard method and you want to share the data over the HTTP or over the URL. Then the REST API is great for you. So in the REST API, we have some data inside the database or other locations. And then we have the REST API or the codes, and we have different devices. For instance, I can get access to the data or the REST API by the dynamic web application, Android application, desktop application, MVC application, Blazor, Razor, iPhone, then the JavaScript web application, and many other technologies, something like the Python, for instance. So you can get access to the REST API directly and get access to the database without need to get access to the database itself directly. So we can add the firewall over here, and after that protect the database against the unauthorized using inside the code over here. So we call it the REST API. At the first look, it is a kind of scary and complex, but believe me, it's really simple and straightforward. The main duty of the REST API is sharing the data between different devices over the web or the network. We call it HTTP service. So over here, now we learned more about the API. In the next step, let's get inside the Google and search for the sample REST API URL for testing. We have something like this, the RESTful-api.dev, and get inside that website. Also, you can select all the websites. You are completely free. This is only for the learning purposes, so it is the sample website. Now come over here and come to this one. And if I take a look, you can see the diagram. So we have the RESTful API over here. Then we have the server and the database. And the application with the different devices can get access to the database using the RESTful API. It's really simple and straightforward. And as I say over here, if you want to get access to the RESTful API, one of the best methods is the HTTP. Then directly you can get inside the API by easily loading the web page or the website. We have different methods. For instance, to get the information, we have the get. To add the new information, we have the post. To update the data inside the database, we have the put. Then we have the delete to delete the records of the data. So if I take a look over here, now come to this, we have the RESTful API.dev. In the main page, we have the sample list of the API that you can test it. The first one is the get. You can see we're going to use it to get access to some data or list them. So it is the list of all objects. You can see the request is this one, HTTPS API RESTful API dev objects. So if I copy this, come to the browser and paste it over here. After a couple of seconds, everything will be loaded. Wow, what happened? The result is a kind of JSON. So you can come over here, click on the pretty print. So we have something like this. It is the JSON format. So I can come over here and come to this and search for the online JSON viewer and press the enter. Get inside this website and come over here, and I can copy everything from here up to the and get inside the online JSON viewer. I want to get deeply and look deeply inside the return value. So this is the text and paste it over here. It is something like this. And I zoom in for your better understanding. So we have something like this. As you see at the top, I have the ID1. This is the name. Then we have the data, including the color and capacity. Then we have the ID2 name and the data is null. So if I get inside the viewer, I can see all of this from the 0 up to the 12. If I expand the number 0, you can see the ID is 1, the name is Google Pixel 6 Pro. Then we have the data, and if I expand that, we have the color, then we have the capacity. Then we have the number 2, you can see the ID and data is null. Or I can work with the number 3, and the ID is 4, the name is Apple iPhone, and we have the data that is loaded over here. So this was the response of the REST API. It's really simple and straightforward. If I get inside the REST API one more time, we have all of them. For instance, we can list the objects by ID. Click on this. As you see, I have the address of the website from here up to the dev. Then we have the objects. Then we have the first parameter, the ID. This is the ID equals 3. If I zoom in, you can see better, I think. Great. So we have the objects, then the ID parameter, the value of the ID. And after that, the second parameter, and the ID is 5. Then we have the ID is 10. And the data, and if I copy this part and get inside this and paste it and press enter. Now the result is something smaller. And if I copy this one, come over here, refresh the website, and let's see the result. So paste over here and get inside. This is the text as you see. Then get inside the viewer. So I have 3 items. This is the last one. As you see, this is the ID, the capacity. Then if I take a look, I have the number 1 and number 0. So we have the ID 3, ID 5, ID 10. Exactly what we sent over here. The ID 3, ID 5, ID 10. And the result, you can see it over here. It's very simple and straightforward. Also, we have the single object you can see over here or post. Indeed, if you want to create the new record inside the database, you can use the @object method. So we have something like this. I have the Apple, then the year, the price, the CPU model, up to the end. So the result is this one. All of this, as you see, the ID is 7. The name is Apple MacBook. Then we have the data. You can see the year. And after all of this, we have the created at this date and this time, if as you see over here. So we can do it something like this. After that, we have the put to update the object. And finally, we have the patch to partially update the object. In this step, you don't need to memorize all of this. For a better understanding, I did it and we learned more about the different methods of the REST API. So up to now, we learned why we need to use the REST API and its different methods. And after that, it's a structure. And we talked about the sample REST API that we can start working with it. What about the next step? In the next step, I'm going to talk about how to start creating your first REST API and start working with it. It's very simple and straightforward. Step by step, I talk about the different projects inside the Visual Studio, and I'm going to use the different projects for working with the different aspects of the RESTful API. Stay with me. Thanks and thanks, goodness.